What is up, y'all? Hope everyone is having a great day. Welcome back to another episode of the Rip the Net podcast, bringing you sports and culture. My name is Eric.
I'm Dre.
I'm Alexi.
Okay. Arrest this guy. What the hell's going on?
Man, crazy, man. How y'all doing? And you know, I usually check in on how y'all doing, but I actually do want to give a member of the floor, man. Alexi, what are you wearing and why are you wearing it?
Oh, hey man. Look, recently launched the brand Kalopsia, inspired by Greek culture, Greek history, from myth to modern times, man. We just dropped our first collection inspired by the Papoose, the old men of Greece. KalopsiaStudios.com if you want to check it out. This hoodie will be coming soon. Hopefully within the next month and a half, I will be dropping this. 100% cotton, made in Portugal, getting that quality. And yeah, man, just a little side project.
That's what's up. It's a really nice blue. I don't know.
I appreciate it.
I think I saw
you
post. I think I saw you
posted
post
a little
something.
teaser. Just posted today on TikTok a little, review my reactions when getting these samples, and quality's going up. I'm excited.
Cool. That's what's up. And how would you say, because you had a drop this weekend, by the time this releases, it will have been almost a week since your release. So I know things are probably still in the works, but how was the first drop? What were your thoughts? What were your experiences? What were your feelings?
Yeah, no, I was telling Dre, it's weird because it's like you're establishing yourself and you don't really have a baseline and expectation. I'm really happy, friends and family have shown out to support, and in terms of impressions online that I've gotten, it's been good. Like my Instagram, I've gotten over 5,000 views on the account.
Ooh,
which for starting out is great. And I know it's a long journey, and I'm just glad though that how everything is kind of shaping up, given I'm the only one doing this, making content or doing the graphic design and everything. I think if I were to change anything, I would probably, and I still might do this, is invest in some Instagram ads to actually push it out and see as an advertisement the videos I've posted, how does that work? Will that engage with people, lead to followers, lead to conversions? But it's been a big learning experience, and for anyone who's been struggling on the job market, the best way to get some new skills is to get them yourself and learn the hard way. And this is what it's been like for me. So I've been really happy with that. I've gotten a lot of just positive sentiment from people saying it's a good idea and the execution is looking good. And so now it's just, it's a long game, and it's staying consistent with that.
For sure. I think to speak to the whole Instagram ads thing, I think that would probably be huge. I think the days of sketchy Instagram ads are a little bit behind us, because when I think about just my feed and what I see when I'm just scrolling, I see a lot of ads for brands that seem very interesting, and they're very catered to my likings, a lot of, it's really interesting. I think there's also a boom in this is a very kind of off topic, but Christian streetwear, I've been seing it a whole lot.
I've been seeing that too. Yeah.
I'm just I don't know. I think it's cool. I don't have a problem with it, but it's just I don't know. I never expected there to be such a boom with it. So I feel there's just not an oversaturation, but there are plenty of huge brands out there. And so when I see Instagram ads, it allows for me to see new unique brands that I have never seen before. And when I check them out, I'm this is great quality. This is quality stuff, and I would have never found it had it not been for those ads. So I would encourage you to go that route, because I'm sure it opens up that visibility.
Yeah, I definitely am. I want to see how now, once a week goes by of those videos being up, which is probably tomorrow or the day after, I'm probably going to invest in that and see what type of difference that makes. But I totally agree. There's been a huge kind of blow up of brands based around different cultures and religions. And I'm not going to act like I'm OG because I had this idea a few years ago, but it all seems to be very based around Christian. And then I see a lot of the times around like Arab culture. Like those are the two biggest ones where I just see like brands kind of blowing up, and it's great, you know? And I think what I love so much about this idea of like, you know, culture or an ethnic group attached to like a brand is that is like the point of fashion in a way. It's expressing yourself. And if that culture even means a bit to you in some way, and that design relates to you, then I mean, that's like a better expression than you could get than just wearing like, you know, an Adidas Kith collab or like a random Nike tee. Like it's different. It's more emotional.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get that. And I like that. I think, yeah, it's interesting because when you talk about, can you talk about just like the meaning of Kalopsia, right?
Kalopsia. Yeah, Dre got it with the accent.
Man, little Percy Jackson in the veins, you know.
Word. I know you and I have had this conversation, but for the viewers, man, why did you go with that name and what does it mean?
Yeah, so fun fact, when I initially had this idea, it just came up with kalokako, which in Greek quite literally means good, bad. And, you know, a bit generic, but I wanted it to be a name that was fun and obviously Greek and had some sort of meaning. And at the time, my whole concept was like, you know, there's the good in life, the bad in life, but it's a little too simple. And when looking for a different name and just thinking about different options, I came across this word, kalopsia, which means the delusion of something being more beautiful than it is. And I don't want to explicitly say this on my site, but when I saw that, it kind of expressed to me what fashion is in a way, is we take it so seriously and so intensely, like you almost become deluded into thinking about brands and just different businesses on a higher level, when at the end of the day, it's a hoodie you're wearing, it's a t-shirt you're wearing, it's expressing you and expressing what you enjoy, whether it's a basic tee, like a plain tee or not. Like there's always some visual signifier you get seeing a piece of clothing on someone. And it's kind of your choice of how far down that path you want to read into it. And so I thought that word with that meaning just was a really great concept and something that I believe in. And, you know, I think it's something that kind of pertains to also the mythological aspect I'll be getting into of some designs of like playing into myths and different beliefs and things like that, you know, a certain aspect of, you know, delving into a world.
That's what's up. That's really cool, man. I love that. I really like that. And, you know, best of luck in the future drops, man. It was really cool. It was really cool seeing you, you know, getting that page started up and like seeing the drop and seeing just like, you know, just being on the website for me, just like hopping on the website, seeing that it was something that you put work into. So big congrats, man. I'm excited for you.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate the support. And, you know, to anyone watching, listening, it's very corny sounding, but I feel like it has to be said. It's like, if you have an idea, just do it. I thought about this idea for years and was always overthinking about, oh, the execution isn't perfect or it's too hard or I don't know connections in this. If you can just take it day by day, and at the end of the day, if you could get like 70% of what you want done on the very first try, just go with that. Don't worry about it being exactly perfect as you want it to be, because it takes practice, it takes time. You just have to get a start. You have to establish that baseline. And once you do that, it's only up. So that's my motivational speech for the day.
Link in the description, man. KalopsiaStudios.com. That's correct, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We'll link that for sure.
Much appreciated, y'all. But we got some topics to discuss now.
We do.
Where we start?
Well, breaking news out of the football. Well, by the time you see this, probably not that breaking. But as we're recording this, it literally within the last half hour has come out. The Ballon d'Or has been decided, and we have our 2025 Ballon d'Or winner, Ousmane Dembele. You know what I'm saying? If you know, 2018 World Cup France song, that was a banger. But who would have thought in 2018, after that World Cup, that we'd be seeing Ousmane Dembele lift the Ballon d'Or before Kylian Mbappe? I'm starting the agendas now. I hate to say I'm starting the agendas right now, but we can get into that. Any first impressions and on the Ballon d'Or, whether or not we can go down the top 10. There's a lot of routes we could take. Go down the top 10. Who you guys thought should have won it? Who you think is more deserving? Any rankings issues you have with the top 10 rankings or the 1 to 30? A lot of different angles, but any first thoughts?
I think initially, I remember having these discussions before. This adds up, man. Like I think Lamine Yamal, second place easy, and very well I could have seen first place, but I think Dembele and PSG winning the Champions League, I think that was the final push. If they didn't have that, Yamal easily would have won that. But, Dembele and the team were able to do it. So I think it's well deserved. Mo Salah, number 4. Maybe I'm just a hater, but I question that decision.
Too high or too low?
Too high.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe I'm just forgetting parts of last season. Like maybe I don't know. But I see other names on here that, like, I think Rafinha was a better player. I think Cole Palmer, it should be neck and neck with Salah. He shouldn't be like a few places down. I don't know. Maybe this is some delusion kicking in, but
that's an interesting take. I'll save my thoughts for a second. Any initial thoughts though, Eric, on any of these angles?
Yeah, I mean, I know when we had this conversation way back, I think my pick was Vinicius Jr. And don't fully recall how you guys felt about that, but just the way he contributed to winning, just the way he was involved with winning all around, I would have expected him to have won it, but the fact that he didn't is interesting. I think, PSG fans have an opportunity to celebrate. I know Dembele has been played with different, I know you guys mentioned the narrative. I don't know if you guys are referring to like the injuries that he's dealt with or what exactly he's like overcoming, but like, I don't know. It's not what I had in mind, but it was definitely, I remember one of the names that y'all threw in the mix. So it wasn't like I was completely thrown off guard. And he did have a great season, but I think my pick would have been Vinicius Jr. So I'm wondering what you guys feel or what y'all think of that.
On crack.
Nothing else?
I ain't got nothing else. And Dre disappeared off screen.
I think I maybe see where the confusion is coming from, because we did discuss Vinicius for last year's Ballon d'Or and whether or not he deserved it over Rodri, and that was a massive debate. I still think Rodri deserved that. Obviously, it's hard to say what happened after, because Rodri ended up being Alexi, you're killing me. Rodri ended up being injured for basically all of last year, so he didn't really get to like back up his, or maybe put on a Ballon d'Or defense campaign. But then Vinicius, on the other hand, ever since he lost out on the Ballon d'Or, he came out and said, "Oh, I'm just gonna show them. I'm gonna do 2 times, 3 times better." And dude was dog last year, bro. Vinicius, I hate to say it, bro. Like, I know you be getting racist like remarks out in Spain. I know like it's a little rough out there for you, but I ain't gonna lie, bro. You're not backing it up. You and Mbappe, that duo is not hitting the way it should.
Should I just say too, like, even at 16th, That is generous. That
Very
is generous.
Very generous. If you look at the top 30, Goat McTominay got to be ahead of you, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But if we're talking about players outside of the top 10 that didn't make it in, personally, I believe Pedri has been absolutely snubbed, like unbelievably. I think if we're talking about players who had a realistic shot to win it, that's a different story. I think last year was an outlier seeing Rodri win it. And it was nice seeing a midfielder win it, but usually this ends up going to an attacker. So it was realistic that he wasn't going to end up actually winning it. But if we're talking about the best midfielder in the world, for me, it's Pedri. I think you could argue Jude. You could argue, I guess, if we're looking at the rankings, Vitinha finished third. So you could argue him as well. But for me, Pedri is the best midfielder in the world. And for Pedri to not crack a top 10 Ballon d'Or list after the season he had last year is absolutely criminal. To me, Pedri's better than Vitinha. Okay, now we can talk about accomplishments, and that's why you see a bunch of PSG players doing well. And that's ultimately why Dembele wins it. That's why Luis Enrique got Manager of the Year, I believe. Donnarumma got Goalkeeper of the Year. PSG obviously just got Team of the Year in general. But if we're talking about actual like eye test, ability, performances, for me, Pedri is the best midfielder in the world. So that's, and then we can talk about the actual Ballon d'Or. Like you said, Alexi, I agree. Lamine Yamal, eye tests, like performances that I watched, Lamine Yamal was the best player in the world last year. Now, to be fair, that doesn't always end up working out like the best player wins the Ballon d'Or. Numbers matter. Accomplishments matter. It's not always so black and white, or maybe sometimes it's too black and white if you want to look at it that way. But for me, Lamine was that guy. He really was that guy. If we're talking about massive, like important performances, watching. Here's my issue with Rafinha, and this is what kind of ties into the Lamine Yamal situation. Watching Lamine Yamal single-handedly try to drag that Barcelona team to the Champions League final against Inter, for me, said all it needed to say about Lamine versus Rafinha. After that, I was like, bro, there's no chance in hell Rafinha even sniffs Yamal on the Ballon d'Or ranking. That would be absolutely criminal. Now, if we're talking about Salah, who comes into the equation now, who finished fourth, and I think for most of the year, people would have had it Salah, Rafinha, Dembele, Lamine are like the four real contenders, and I would have Pedri fifth. Salah, first half of the year, was the best player. Dembele, second half of the year, was the best player. Rafinha, to be fair, Rafinha and Salah were going bar for bar for most of the year. Lamine, the numbers aren't quite there yet, which is why I think he ultimately didn't win it, because, you know, he's still growing. The fact that he's even second is ridiculous. I think this year he's going to try to put those numbers up. But Salah last year, 28 goals, 18 assists in the league, damn near broke both scoring records. You know, he didn't end up quite both scoring and assist record. He didn't end up getting there in the end. But apparently, I don't know the exact number, but he accounted for over 70% of like Liverpool's goals last year, which for me, which is crazy. We're talking about goals and assists, like goal involvements, goals and assists. Like he was like either a goal, scored it or assisted it, 70% of their goals, which is an incredible stat. And if we're looking at him versus Rafinha, the reason why I'd have Salah above him is because Rafinha had a guy who's even higher up on the ranking than him on his team. Salah was putting Liverpool on his back for most of the year. And then you see the few games where Salah couldn't do it, they got knocked out of the Champions League to PSG. It literally was like, if Salah's not taking
early
you,
too, right?
Like round of 16, I believe.
I thought it was earlier. Like I thought Liverpool was knocked.
They made at least because who did PSG face? A lot of English teams. I remember they faced City. No, Madrid took out City, and PSG faced I think Liverpool, then Villa, then Arsenal. Then I think it was round because Arsenal was semis. Yeah, Villa was quarters. I think Liverpool was round 16, if I remember correctly. But basically it was like if Salah can't take you there, no one else on Liverpool is stepping up, and that's why you see Darwin Núñez out of there, Luis Diaz out of there. Gakpo's still there, but hey, man, now they got two ballers up front, man. You're gonna have to fight for your spot. So that's why, just for me personally, I can see your argument, and I know you also have your issues with Liverpool. Yeah, so I can understand that. But for me, I can understand Salah being ahead of Rafinha, even if it's only one place. But really, I'm looking at the list again. First of all, Mbappe, that's pure number spam. That dude, if you're looking at eye test, he did not deserve 7th.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer, people say he had a cold, well, no pun intended, back half of the year. But if you want to look at Dembele had a terrible first half of the year. So really, you can make that argument. He wasn't actually the best player for the entire year, but whatever. He did it when it mattered most. Gianluigi Donnarumma, I've heard from League One watchers he was terrible in the league, and that's why they got rid of him and went and got another keeper. But he was big in the Champions League, which does matter.
And he has the experience. He has,
yeah.
Other than last season, I guess domestically, he has good experience in Italy.
That is true. And for me, the player I actually could see going higher. Obviously, I said Pedri should be top 10. That's non-negotiable for me. If anything, I would drop Donnarumma out because Nuno Mendes has to be in there. And for me, Hakimi sneakily could be a top 5, bro. I know he's a fullback, and it's hard to argue fullbacks. I understand. But if I'm talking about like important performances on that same team where everyone's getting like pulled up because they won everything, if we're talking about who's actually the best player on that PSG team, people are going to say Dembele. I understand he's an attacker, whatever. Vitinha, he was arguably the best midfielder on that team. I think João Neves was also incredible. And Fabian Ruiz, whatever. But Hakimi, he put on one of the best fullback years I've ever seen, personally. Like, that dude was all over the pitch. He was showing up as a striker in some of these games. His engine is crazy. His speed, his crossing, his finishing. Even he had a handful of goals last year. His defending. People would have said he used to be a wing back. Now he's a proper fullback, bro. It's hard to beat Hakimi. He's defending very well. I don't know. Hakimi, I know I'm making an outside shout because he's never going to actually win the Ballon d'Or as a fullback. It's tough, but I think he's one of them who could have also cracked the top 5. But
I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, honestly, Vitinha, not their places swapped, but I think Hakimi should have moved up in that 5.
Yeah, especially because they're already... You can see the PSG buff on the list. The fact that PSG will have 5 of the top 10, I believe. So there's definitely a PSG buff, and I think it's deserved. When you win the Champions League, you're gonna get that. I ain't gonna lie, man. The world champs did take them out in the Club World Cup, so I ain't gonna lie. Cole Palmer gotta be a little bit higher, bro.
Yeah,
no,
your
honestly,
world champs just got beat by Man U, so
we'll get to that in a second, because hey. Enzo Maresca, your time has come. But anyway, we'll get to that in just a few minutes here. But honestly, I was impressed to even see Cole Palmer in the top 10. I think it's deserved. I think the narrative around him in the back half of the season, people were acting like he was worse than he was because he wasn't scoring a lot of goals from open play or any goals from open play. But eye test, if you actually watched him in the games, his performance was still at a high level. And I think this reflects that. And then the fact that he ended up being the best player in the Club World Cup final and scoring decisive goals and whatever. Like, he's a big game player. He always has been. His record in finals is crazy. So the fact that Chelsea has a player in the top 10 Ballon d'Or conversation is interesting. It's interesting. It's even more interesting because what I'm going to say later about the game about the game over the weekend. You know, we got to do a little more to surround him with talent. But any last thoughts about even though the players that finished 11 to 30, any one of them you think should have cracked the top 10 other than Pedri?
You know, maybe this is just my bias still from the Euros, but I thought, I'm going to butcher the name, Kvaratskhelia. He's been a class player since joining PSG, and top 10, if he were there, I would not have been surprised. McAllister at 22, I saw that, was a little confused. Martinez at 20, Lautaro Martinez, I honestly would have expected higher given what Inter were doing before their massive fumble. But I would say, generally speaking, you know, this list is, less controversial than probably other years.
Yeah, fair. Seeing Victor Gyökeres 15th, interesting.
I'm not surprised by that.
The numbers, yeah,
the numbers. You got all these PSG players in the top 10 in a farmers league where the performances are really in the Champions League.
That's true.
Like, it's only right that when you got Gyökeres popping off in what people also call a farmers league,
yeah,
he's got to be top 20 at least.
And he did win I saw he won the award for like top striker in Europe at the Ballon.
Yeah.
So that's fair enough. I can see that. Will he back that up this year? Top 15 finish. We'll see. Desiree Doué 14, impressive. Honestly, Harry Kane maybe a little bit of a snub. I know Bayern didn't end up going that. Like they went. What did they reach? Like the quarterfinals, I believe. And
I don't think so. Did they get that far?
They lost to Inter, I remember. But I remember who did Interface. Obviously, PSG, Barca was semi. I think Bayern was quarter, unless it was another team. Maybe.
You got better memory than me. I don't know.
I don't really. Honestly, my memory is terrible. So everything I've said so far could be cap. Like, honestly, my memory is not great. They either faced, I think it was Bayern. They faced Bayern at some point. I don't remember if it was quarter or around the 16. But either way, it's not as far as you would expect Bayern to make it. So maybe that's what's holding Harry Kane back. But he won his first trophy out in Germany, and his numbers are just crazy as well. I guess that's why he's ahead of Gyökeres. But I agree with you. Kvaratskhelia, or Kvaradonia, as we like to call him. Him joining PSG, honestly, we could talk about Dembele's form in the back half of the season, but a big part of their fortunes changing is Kvaradonia joining them in January. Like, that just put them over the top, where it was like, okay, now you have Barcola coming off the bench, and you have Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Doué, and Barcola is a super sub. It was ridiculous. It was honestly just ridiculous. But yeah, overall, João Neves, 19. I think next year, I ain't gonna lie, this guy, he's growing crazy. Like, every time I see him, and admittedly, I don't watch him as much as I could because I'm not watching League One week in, week out. Let's be real. But every time I have seen him, he just looks like, I thought he was more of a defensive midfielder. He's really just box to box everywhere. He's been scoring goals recently. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he cracks like a top 15 next year. It depends on, obviously, PSG go as far, but I'm mainly just waffling. Jude 23, interesting. Declan Rice 27, Haaland 26.
Declan Rice, that's kind of brutal given the performance he put in the Champions League.
Back-to-back man of matches against Real Madrid to take them to the semis. Yeah, I agree. That was like a generational performance. I can't lie. Maybe because Arsenal didn't end up winning anything at all.
But maybe it does give me a smile that Scott McTominay is that much higher.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If Scott McTominay was still on Man U and that happened, Twitter would be crazy, I feel like.
That is true, yeah. He's really turned his career around. I mean, I guess you could say that about like 90% of the players.
Yeah, he didn't turn it around because he was never bad.
But his last year at United was where like he started popping up, scoring a ton of goals, being like that box crashing midfielder. But I feel like before that, he was bad. Yeah, bad is harsh, but he wasn't really that prominent.
He was just a solid player.
Yeah,
he was like in my eyes, he was like a Lindelof, where a solid, reliable player.
Okay,
not that crazy.
I don't disagree with you, but if you compare him to Lindelof, who ended up leaving on a free, then I think McTominay, you can class that as him turning his career around, because I don't think he'd want to.
Lindelof is also older.
That is true. Yeah, Lindelof. He was there for so long. Yeah, that's fair. But either way, I think he definitely did take his career to another level. Or you can agree on that for sure.
Definitely an elevation, and I want to reiterate too that I'm not putting one league over another, especially Serie A. I think it's a good league. I think people hate on it a little too much. And some people are just better suited for it and the tempo there. So,
that's
I'm
fair.
glad for Goat McTominay.
And we're going to have to do a little Serie A. We talked about it last year, but that league is really exciting. I know they had some fun games recently, like Inter, Juventus was crazy. Mm-hmm. Even Juventus in the Champions League was crazy. And Serie A, if we look historically, they might have the best amount of talent that's gone through that league. Even compared to the Prem, if you do like a combined 11, Maybe we should do that in the future. Like combine Serie A Prem 11. Serie A got some hitters out there, bro. That maybe you can't say in the late 2020s or whatever, but historically, they got some bangers out there. But yeah, either way, these are all tangents. All tangents. Any final thoughts on the Ballon d'Or 2025? Nope. Sounds good. Congratulations again to Ousmane Dembele. Well deserved. Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot about the agenda. Yeah, once again, Kylian, you're on the clock. When you came out, everyone was saying he's next up. After the Messi Ronaldo era, Kylian's going to win the Ballon d'Or. I ain't gonna lie, Haaland should have got one already ahead of you. So you're lucky behind him. Lamine, to me, should have got this one. But even if he didn't, Dembele deserved as well. And Lamine is also not even in your age group. So you shouldn't even be going bar for bar with him. That's embarrassing if he wins one ahead of you. But Dembele, who was your brother coming up in the French and, all that, and everyone was saying, who's going to be better? Everyone said, okay, nah, Mbappe is clear. It's not even close. And then Dembele in 2025 winning a Ballon d'Or before you, joining the team that you left and took them all the way after you couldn't do it, and you got bounced by Arsenal in the quarterfinals or whatever it was. I ain't gonna lie, bro. You're on the clock. But to be fair, he started the season well, so we'll see. Shall we move on?
We shall.
I guess it's that time.
It's that time.
I guess it's that time. I'll let you guys intro this segment.
Yeah, man. They didn't want to see us win, said DJ Khaled, and I'ma say it now. Man United versus Chelsea was this past weekend. All the haters were against us, saying the 3-4-3 is trash. Get that out of here. Nah, man. Trust in Amorim. I said, wait 3 games for me to give my thoughts back on the manager. Nah, I'm giving them now. I trust Amorim. I stand by Amorim. But before I do that, Chelsea keeper. I'm already forgetting his name. Sanchez, right? Yeah. Dog, what are you doing? 5 minutes into a game, and you come out with a tackle like that, not clocking. You have a whole 85 minutes to come back if they score against you. But you put your whole team at risk and get that red. I'm not mad at it. I'm just disappointed to see a performance like that, putting Chelsea down like that. And then obviously, Man U took advantage of that. Bruno, GOAT midfielder for United, had his 100th goal. And then Casemiro as well.
GOAT midfielder for United? Be careful with your words. Be careful with your words here. Hold on.
In this era we're currently in, he is the best player we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson. Easily. Best signing. Anywho, he had a great goal. Casemiro, shockingly, with a goal. And even more shockingly, assisted by Luke Shaw, of all people, who I despised the week before. He had a horrible performance then. But I have to give credit where credit is due. He performed this weekend. A lot of this team performed this weekend, except one player who I will get to. But Casemiro, then, he just tends to give the most stupid fouls and gets cards for it. And he got his second yellow, I believe it was, and was sent off the pitch, making the game a 10v10 around, I think it was before halftime or right after halftime. And yeah, I mean, after that, United were still, I think, the dominant team, I think, in their possession and their play, albeit Chelsea were able to score one later on, but it wasn't enough. It was too little, too late. Man United came out with the dub, a much needed dub too, for the spirit of this team, and because all these fans, can't think big picture. So now they're happy at least that we got a W. They're not going to be calling for Amorim's head at the moment. But I will put someone on significant fraud watch, and that is Amad Diallo, bro. Amad Diallo performed so well last season. everyone was singing about him, just singing his name. Happy he was saying, "Oh, I want to stay at United my whole career." We love that, bro. If you're putting performances like this in, we don't want you here that long. We don't want that. This dude will not make the most square balls, the most optimal square balls for goals. He refuses to pass to our super expensive signing of Benjamin Sesko, and instead just crosses the ball in. That is unacceptable. I know Ahmad has the talent and he knows better, but he's got to show it sooner rather than later, because it's getting ridiculous at this point, the amount of times we just cannot supply to our strikers. And then one last thing. Alejandro Garnacho on the bench. Not a surprise. Not a surprise, to be honest. You know, him and his twat brother, and I will say that word with aggression, because that dude was like a big cause of drama at United. Saying that dude literally before Garnacho was signed was like, September 20th, we'll be waiting, or he said some crap like that. Bro, your brother can't even start. Shut up, sit down, get out of here. You're not even a player. Why are you talking? So, I just gotta say, I reveled in that win, especially seeing him on the bench, especially hearing the chants against him. It made my heart warm. So, I am a very happy camper. You have the floor.
It's about that time. It's about that time. Enzo Maresca. I said it earlier. If you watched it, maybe you're just watching the segment, so you didn't see it. But we were talking about the Ballon d'Or in another segment, and I said, Enzo Maresca, your time has come. And I wish I had a soundboard with more sounds, because I would play that YouTube doom sound effect after I said that. Because brother. This is why I love this sport. I love this game, as the great Patrice Evra would say, you know? And if you saw last week's episode, if you dish it, you gotta be able to take it. And that's why I'm gonna show you how you actually hold a manager accountable, because this guy up here, delusional. I ain't gonna lie. If Amarim still has to go. But we'll get to that in a second. Enzo Maresca, 5 minutes in. Let's not even start with this game. Let's go to before this game. Let's go back to the summer. Let's go back to last year. Robert Sanchez. Every Chelsea fan under the sun said explicitly, this summer he has to go. He has to go. Robert Sanchez is the only goalkeeper in the Premier League that can go bar for bar with Onana and Bayindir, bro. That's like the ugly triplets right there, bro. These are the three worst keepers I've ever seen starting for top 6 clubs, bro. It's levels, and this guy's on that level, and it's not a good level to be on. But Enzo Maresca over the summer was like, I back him. That's my guy. We're going now for 15 different wingers that are all like 20 to 22 years old and costing 60 million. Other than Garnacho, we got a little steal for that one. But other than that, this dude refused to replace the keeper. And we even have better keepers in our reserve. We had Petrovic, who's like, bro, screw this, I'm out of here. I can't get in over Robert Sanchez. I'm gone. Jorgensen, I'm surprised he's even still here. He's better. We signed this guy named Penders, who's supposed to be coming in next year, apparently. Fast track that. Bring him in right now, bro. We need that right now. Robert Sanchez is not a starting quality keeper for a team that has the aspirations to be where Chelsea claims they want to be. Now, before this season, and even if you go back to our predictions episode, I said explicitly, I want City ahead of Chelsea in our predictions. I don't believe we're in a title race. I think top 4 at best. And this is why. We're too inconsistent. Maresca, he's an inexperienced manager. Now, does that mean he's not a good manager? No. I think he has a lot of good qualities to his game. I think he's very flexible and adaptable, usually. And I think that's what makes him a good manager, and one that maybe can take us into the future. Or maybe even if it's a transitional thing and we get someone else down the line, whatever. But there are times when that inexperience shows. And September 20th against Manchester United, it was on full display. 5 minutes into the game, now we're getting to the heat of the moment. Robert Sanchez, the guy that you backed, that everyone said is not of the level, makes one of the worst Oh my gosh. I'm getting heated just thinking about it, bro. This guy, there's no reason, one, you need to leave your leg out there to take Mbemo out, bro. Or if anything, just let him score it. Like, just, we can't. 5 minutes into a game with 10 men, you're basically saying GG's, bro. And even if it's not GG's, now as a manager, you're showing your lack of experience because you look like you never even considered that at any point in any game, we can go down to 10 men. There was no plan for if there's 10 men, we set up this way, we attack this way, we hit a low block and we get them on the counter. Nothing. You basically say, damn, 10 men, hold up. Esteval, you're out. Which, you know, I understand. We had to replace him. We had to bring on another keeper. That one's fair enough. Like, we can all agree you had to bring on a keeper, whatever. Bring out Esteval, 18-year-old kid, whatever. Doesn't have the experience. Get him out of there. Okay. Then you take off Pedro Neto, the winger with the best engine on the team, who tracks back, does the most work, who's rapid, who can hit on the counter attack. You take him off as well. Okay, well, that doesn't really make sense. 20 minutes or 15 minutes later, and at the moment, to be fair to him, at the moment, I was furious. He takes off Cole Palmer to bring on another center back in Tosin, I believe, at that moment. What the hell? That's what I was feeling in the moment. Since then, I've come to find out Cole Palmer did re-aggravate his groin injury, and he had to be subbed out for that reason. Okay, whatever. If Cole Palmer is not 100% though, why are you taking him off later? Take him off immediately at the 5-minute mark and leave Pedro Neto on, so we still have attacking options. Now Cole's coming off because of an injury. We already lost the other two. We only have 2 subs left to make, and apparently he was gonna bring Garnacho on. He brings on Tyreek George, and then he brings on Malo Gusto. Apparently Garnacho was gonna be the 5th sub, but Fofana didn't have the legs to finish the game because that dude was coming back from being injured for like 2 years, so he doesn't have the stamina. So he's like, Garnacho, sit back down. If Fofana is not 100% fit, why are you leaving him on that long? Make the sub for another center back who can play the full 90 and then bring Garnacho out later. Everything about the way he managed this game was terrible. We had no plan. We had no attack to even hit him on the counter. João Pedro is the only player where I was like, when we were on the counter, he was holding up the ball well. I was like, okay, he's trying to get something going, but no one was even backing him up. No one was even there to do little 1-2s with him. He's just sitting up there holding the ball like, damn, no one's coming. Okay, GG's, man, you can have the ball back. Like, whatever, we're just going to go back and sit back and defend. That has to be the biggest disaster class of a managing performance I've seen since Manchester United versus Grimsby Town. Like, like, it's not like, I don't know what he was thinking, but this performance exposes why the end of our transfer window was shambolic. At the beginning, we were all so excited about Pedro, Delap, whatever, Delap's injured, so whatever. But Colwill got injured toward the end of the transfer window, who's our best center back, and you can see it. You can see it in this game. Colwill was greatly missed because what the hell? Casemiro's goal, there wasn't a Chelsea player within 10 feet of him, bro. This dude was wide open at the back post. No one's even tracking or anything. But you can see Colwill, best center back for build up, for defending, for everything. He's our best center back toward the end of the window. Instead of going to replace Colwill or at least bring in a stopgap, maybe even a loan, something, we're going out and buying more wingers. Why are we obsessed with 20 to 23-year-old wingers who are projects? We don't need more projects. We have Esteval, 18, who's supposed to be a wonder kid out of Brazil. That's our project. We don't need Gittins, who was basically Madueke when we bought him 2 years ago, however many years ago. And then we sold on Madueke and bought Gittins, who's now we have to develop him too. We should be moving him from Madueke to an established left winger to start on the left side. We have Gittins, who looks like Madueke, bro. He's just another Madueke, but he can't score. Like, this dude's just a dribble merchant. Like, he didn't even play this game, so I don't even know why I'm going at him. But the fact he's not even in the squad, let's just say enough. We brought in Garnacho. That's another project. This dude, now he has more scoring ability than Gittins. I'll give him that, but we have to work on him. He's not just going to come in and be a lights out left winger. He's someone we're hoping in the next year or two, if we can turn him into something. Pedro Neto, he's actually proven himself over the last year. That was our project from last year, who we've improved. Esteval, that's our project. Gittins and Garnacho make no sense to me if your goals are to challenge for a title or go deep in the Champions League, because now our timelines are messed up. Cole Palmer is ready right now. Caicedo is ready right now. Cucurella is ready right now. Reece James, despite coming off of how many injuries, he's still one of the best players on our team. He's ready right now. Colwell, it's a shame that he's injured. He would have been ready. João Pedro is ready right now. But then around them, Pedro Neto as well, he's ready. I'm not saying he's like on their level, but he's ready to at least compete. Around them, you have a bunch of players who are going to be ready in 2 years. So what's the timeline isn't matching up. And now the end of our transfer window looks so stupid, because why are we working on a bunch of projects when I have a bunch of other players who want to compete for championships right now? We're in the top 4 race. I said it back then, and this confirms it, because no other team at our level, our perceived level, should be losing to the worst Manchester United team of all time. That's embarrassing. Liverpool, Arsenal, you guys played first game of the season. They performed poorly, but guess what? If you're really in a title race, you get it done in the end. Now, and no one can say after that game, I know after the game, Man United fans were like, oh, the performance. But what happened? Arsenal got the 3 points. They move on. They're still challenging. We can't say that. We can't say, oh, the performance wasn't there, but we got it done in the end. I know it's different circumstances. We had a red card in the 5th minute. Okay, whatever. But you threw the game away through your lack of experience. Enzo Maresca, I'm not calling for your head, whatever. I'm not going, that's not that crazy. But this is a learning experience you have to take from this game. And the rest of the season, if we go down to 10 men, I better see that you have learned something from this game. I better see that you don't just automatically throw off all of our attacking options. Because guess what? When Casemiro was an idiot and he went and got a second yellow, which, second yellow is even harsh, to be fair, but he was doing dumb fouls, so I guess the ref
it was a stupid foul. I don't think it was a yellow, but Casemiro being stupid and fouling, he would have gotten that yellow.
Exactly. And once it went to 10-10, now I wonder what we could have used in that moment. Maybe more attacking players, bro. Maybe we had a chance, because we even late in that game, once the numbers were even, or United still had their chances. But Chelsea, I think the momentum, the way it was going, we could have scraped a draw in that game if we still had attacking players on the field. But we had already given up on the game with so many defensive substitutions that we just didn't have enough to counter with. Because look at who's in net. Bayender didn't make a save in that game. We just
he did.
Look at the stats. I promise you he didn't make a save.
He had a crazy punch at some point.
I promise you, look at the stats. He did not make a save. Check the stats. It's because we didn't put enough on target. We didn't have the attacking players, and the one time we put something on target, it went in. Because guess what? Bayender is also trash. So if we're going against a trash keeper, why are we just giving up on the game 5 minutes in or 20 minutes in or whatever? When we can just at least put shots on target, and we know we can test this guy. We know he's not.
I will say,
yeah. Go ahead.
I do want to add though. Chelsea was very lucky that Man United is as bad as they are right now on a clinical level, because the amount of chances and opportunities and threats Man United had, but they just couldn't execute a final pass, a final shot. I mean, it's shocking. And even though we got that win, I still need to call out that critique, because, it's good that we at least pose a threat now. And Mbeumo proves once again to be probably the best signing of the summer. Mazraoui also.
For United.
For United.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for United. Mazraoui from last year or year and a half ago, something like that. Best deal we've gotten.
Yeah. Mazraoui was great.
He put in a shift. Delict. I was hating also the last week. He came back and proved once again how when he plays at his potential, he can be one of the most solid defenders you could have. So as much as I was calling for heads last week, I do think there are a lot of players with the potential to bring this United team back to a top 4. We just lack the consistency. And I hope this game, even though it maybe wasn't ideal, like an 11v11, and actually winning that, I hope this game is the start of momentum that we could use to start winning those games. And that dude who hasn't cut his hair in almost a year can finally cut his hair. Not sure if you've seen that. United strand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will also acknowledge the agenda against the United, man. Let me just bring up the table here real quick. I need to get the numbers right.
Mm-hmm.
We currently are on level points with Man City, a point behind Chelsea. And I mean, even, you know, when you look at the other teams like Tottenham, Arsenal, they're only 3 points ahead. So I say mainly to the United fans saying, this is awful, this is terrible. This is such a small gap. If our players can lock in, I still believe we can finish higher than we had in our predictions. So I just need
Where do we have them? Like 8th, I think.
My personal thing, yeah, was like ideally 8th, 7th. I could see it.
Here's the issue with United. And I know you're not going to hear it. You guys got the win. Congrats. But if you, like you said, if we're talking about teams that are going to finish in those spots, if we went down to 10 men, especially in the way we did in that game, like those substitutions, shambolic, all-time disaster class against a Newcastle, a Villa, or any of those teams higher than that, even a Bournemouth, I think we lose that game 4-5-0. And that's like what you're saying. There's a certain level, like Benjamin Sesko, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
He's not being supplied. He's not being supplied.
That's a systemic issue. And the fact that Sesko got subbed off in that game without getting his first Premier League goal, this is the best opportunity to get that. This is like 10 men. Sesko, you should be feasting on that to get your goal. And he ended up getting subbed out. That's worrying to me. That's slightly worrying. I'm not saying, like I said last week, that's someone you have to give time, but you hope you get one goal in your first 5 games, especially against someone with 10 men from that early in the game. That's worrying. Ahmad, like you said, first of all, playing out of position too, but I think that's also a systemic issue where Ahmad should not be worse than he was a year ago. That, to me, some players do, like, you know, some players do, but I don't think Ahmed would have just fallen off a cliff all of a sudden over the course of a year. I think that's an issue where the manager should be improving players. We shouldn't be seeing them regress. I know you're gonna glaze whatever Ruben Amorim, but this is his guy that he brought into the setup. This should be your guy, and you went and bought. I understand Buemo's a better player right now, so it makes sense. But you went and bought a player who wants to play in the same areas as Ahmad, so that's gonna ultimately force some regression on him, because now we're forcing him to wing back. I know this game he was playing the left 10, whatever. But to me, there's certain thing where I was like, okay, now if your best 11 starting, if you want Mbeumo in that right 10, Cunha in the left 10, say Sesko up top, which I don't know if that's best right now, but and Mazraoui's back playing that right wing back, then where does Ahmad fit in the team now in terms of best 11? That's an interesting thing you got to now think about, because you already have Kobe Mainu, who against 10 men can't even get on to later in the game, which is another issue I have. But
I will acknowledge. I don't know why even this game Casemiro started. Like, albeit he gave us the goal, but I genuinely believe if Mainu was starting with Bruno, I don't know, even this idea that he's competing with Bruno.
I don't think get that.
If he played with Bruno, I think this team would be better for it. My only theory could be that this past weekend, Amorim mentioned like about people saying changing formation, the tactics, the strategy. He was saying they have to fundamentally understand their roles before they start changing those things. So the only thing I could understand is like, okay, they're not fully getting it, but once they do get it, Mainu can maybe have a role in that as a change. I don't know. You know, this is some crazy cope, but
but I would, even that, I mean, maybe that's a 50-50 thing. You can look at that from both perspectives, but I would say from a managerial perspective, if you had a year with the player, it's not like his system. I hate to break it to you, Amarim. You don't have the most innovative, never seen before system of all time that players can't understand. If you can't get it, you translate your system to a player over the course of a year. There's some disconnect there. Whether that's the player,
I want to acknowledge. Harry Maguire gave an interview this past weekend as well. He was directly asked about the system because that's just the topic of discussion with United. Mm-hmm. And he immediately was like, it is not at all the system. It is us. Like, it is a player issue. And I believe him. That dude was captain. That dude is still a great leader on the team. I take him at his word when he says it is a player issue. And that's what I've been saying this whole time. I think it is a player problem of their individual performances. And once that is fixed, either with them getting better or with new signings, then we'll see this team flourish. But I stand by the fact of staying with Amarim, getting behind just an idea, getting good at a baseline, and going from there. It's not the most innovative. It's not the most crazy. But it is something this manager was hired to do. And the board and everyone is knowingly behind that idea and believes in that idea. And I fully believe that if it takes, this period of suffering to get there, I'm with it.
Oh, my thoughts on that from last week, but I think the thing to look to now, if we're talking about moving forward, is the fact that United haven't had back-to-back wins in the league since Abraham's come in, which, if you want to look at a reason why you can't climb up the table in the way you'd hope, that's it. You have to put together runs of games. One win, because they did this last year.
Really, our opening games were terrible for us, though. I mean, Arsenal's
City,
rough. Chelsea.
City you beat last year.
No, but I'm
Chelsea,
saying
we never beat you at Old Trafford.
Games. I'm just saying these are big games to start a season, especially in our position. And that's why also, even with the standings, I think it will improve and be better. I think we had probably the roughest start to a season of the Big Six, even though we ain't all that anymore.
And we had the easiest. And look where we are. So Enzo Maresca, like I said, now it's time to really prove your worth, because we stayed in London for the first 4 games. We should be cleaning up, and then we went to United, the worst United of all time. I know the Old Trafford curse, whatever. So call that. This game was never a gimme. It was always going to be, form goes out the window in these kind of games. But I think for United, now you're looking at, okay, you beat Chelsea. You're going up against what? Brentford, and then Sunderland.
Yep. This and then is Liverpool where, after that.
So I think this is where, because say you assume you're going to lose to Liverpool, whatever, anything can happen in rival games. But say even, okay, that's a wash. These next 2 games should tell you all you need to know. You need to win games on the bounce. If you guys go into Brentford and win that, okay, that's momentum. Going to Sunderland, you should beat them as well. That's how you put together, okay, even if we lose to Liverpool, we got points on the board. That's how it stacks up over the course of a season. If you go into Brentford after beating Chelsea and you can't get a back-to-back win, which he hasn't been able to do yet, then you're looking at it like, okay, bro, why are you this inconsistent in terms of winning one game? I guess big teams too. He likes to win those big games randomly, and then we can't beat these bottom feeders, And same thing with Chelsea. I agree. I have the same issues with our inconsistency, where I'm like, some games we perform out the wazoo, and then some games, well, red card, you can't look at it the same way necessarily, but this was an active throwing of the game after the red card. Even starting Esteval on the left, I had an issue with that before the red card even happened. I looked at the team sheet. I was like, he's facing Mazraoui, a very experienced, good defender. You're putting Esteban, who's still lightweight, to go against a guy who can play center back as well if he needed to. That's a bad matchup. I didn't understand why he and you saw that before we even got the red card, Mazraoui's putting Esteban in the blender. I don't understand why that was the decision. I understand he took him off, so we didn't get to see how that played out. But even that, I didn't. He's too, Maresca is very tactically flexible, which I do like. But sometimes, if you know something works, stick to it. There's no need to always say, I'm going to experiment. Esteban on the left this game, and then João Pedro back on the right, and not João Pedro Neto, but either way. I could literally go on about this for an hour because, brother, that was diabolical. That was absolutely diabolical. But we want to move on to Arsenal versus Manchester City.
Yeah. I don't think this will take as long.
No, definitely.
City, you know, they're not a great side at this moment, and this game to me showed again. They didn't have Haaland, man. I genuinely don't know where they would be. Can you agree with that?
I think that's fair. I think he's the best striker in the world. I still stand by that. And I think now we see for Pep, I know I'm gonna let you get into it more, but we see for Pep, when Haaland came in a few years ago, he came in already playing Dortmund, playing transitionally, and we saw, this dude's rapid and strong and the finishing. Put all those three together, if you hit teams on the counterattack, that's lethal. And he proved that. He was putting up ridiculous numbers at Dortmund. He came in the city, he wants to play this little technical, Pep always liked the little passes in the pass spam. And Haaland, if it wasn't for Kevin De Bruyne playing these crazy balls to him, he really performed despite the system and still broke the goal scoring record despite playing in a way that really doesn't facilitate his best attributes. And now, through the fact that City have regressed over the last few years, players getting older, phasing out, I think Pep, it's finally clicked. Okay, if what I like to do is not working, let's just play to our best player's strengths, and we lobbing that thing up to him, bro. And I think you can speak on that.
Yeah, no, I mean that's exactly what they did, man. In the football world, there's been the term haram ball going around, and usually that's an Arteta tactic: parking the bus, fucking 5-6 at the back, just ready for the offense and to defend with their lives. Pep was doing that this game. As soon as Haaland scored, which, let's be real, when he has a ball and he's running, half the time, guaranteed that thing is going in. I mean, he's just unstoppable. He looks it. Like, no other striker looks as imposing as him. So once they scored and had that lead, Pep took some lessons from Arteta. After all these years, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do a little reverse tactic. And that's what they did. Arsenal really dominated that game in a possession manner, but creatively bankrupt, man. Absolutely bankrupt. I think the goal they got with Martinelli coming on, it was a beauty. We don't see chips that often, and especially against someone as hyped as Donnarumma, as he has been coming into the City team.
No man's land.
But, I mean, I will also acknowledge that was an outside the foot chip. Like, that was actually genuinely very impressive. He was able to do that. But, yeah, I mean, that was more a stroke of luck, I would say, than it was some tactical genius that they had been employing throughout the game. Saka, that dude is so overhyped, man. Like, been on fraud watch. I don't get it. I mean,
okay, yeah.
What, he didn't contribute.
No, this is what I'll say about Saka. On the eye test, I'm not gonna lie, Saka doesn't move me. I'm gonna be real with all the Arsenal fans. Now, his effectiveness, he is a genuinely pretty effective player, especially like those balls you play to the back post and things like that. Like, he is a good player, and he's a good work rate. He tracks back, all that kind of stuff.
But when you got Eze on your team now,
Eze 100%. And this is why the only thing I disagree with what you said is the stroke of luck. I think this game was purely the design of, not some tactic from Arteta. I mean, Arteta, man, you almost got found out by Pep, but it was the design of Arsenal's transfer window. Because now we see the depth that they have is ridiculous. They're probably the deepest team in Europe. If I can't think of anyone, maybe PSG has some good depth too, but Arsenal, the fact that they can bring Eze, Saka, because Saka didn't even start the game, Eze didn't start the game, Martinelli came off the bench, like, and people say what they want about Martinelli, but as a super sub, he's proved to be, against tired legs, he's rapid, and that's gonna cause issues for a defense. Arsenal's second 11 is like Trossard, Martinelli, Madueke, if you want to argue Marino, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Hincapié, was Ben White is also like second 11. Mascara, that kid who looks like the second coming of Saliba, is second 11. Even Kepa, if you want to say, is second 11 as their backup keeper. I'm probably forgetting some midfield. Norgard, who they got from Brentford, also, and Kai Havertz is second 11 now. Like their second 11,
he was on that team.
Their second 11 probably still finishes like top 6, 7 in the Premier League. Like that's a great second 11 to have. And it shows in games like this when Man City, they played that haram ball. They did what they had to do. They got their goal on the break and they sat back. They took off Holland even, which was crazy, and sat back in a 5-5 formation and basically said, we're not even gonna have a striker, bro. We're just gonna sit here and you guys are gonna have to break us down. The only thing that bailed Arsenal out was the fact that they had the depth and now they have the creativity in someone like an Eze. If it was Odegaard, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think they score that game. I think Man City escaped with that one goal. They robbed the bank. But the Eze provides a different spark that I think an Odegaard doesn't. And I hate to say it because I hate to hate on Odegaard, but he just isn't that creative player that I think someone like an Eze is. And I think you have to give credit to them in the sense that they addressed their biggest issue over the summer in depth. So maybe they didn't raise their ceiling that much. Maybe that's like a different thing. I think Liverpool went and raised the ceiling to another level. But Arsenal said, okay, we're just going to beat you to attrition. We're going to come out and if this is not working, okay, Eze on, Saka on, whatever, we'll try something else. And it ended up working out in the end. But I agree with what you said in terms of this is really like you see like a tactical evolution from Pep. And this is why the best managers are the best managers. Even, and I hate to say it, we're not going to get back into the argument, but the best managers, no one just sticks with one exact system forever and says, I refuse to change. Sometimes if you want to stay at the top, you have to say, okay, this guy, Arsenal, Pep and Arteta have been playing chess for years. Their games are honestly, some of them have been absolutely terrible because they're so cagey. They're like one-upping each other constantly. And you see now this is the next evolution where Pep's like, okay, you guys got the possession, you got it, bro. You have all the physical players, you got it, bro. We will sit back and we'll counter with the best striker in the world. And this is how you change and you evolve and you see different forms. And now maybe this is giving Pep a second life. I know he was looking like he's going to leave the Prem at the end of the season or end of next season, whatever. Maybe he's like, maybe I want to get back to the top. You never know. But he has that ego. Every top manager is going to have the ego where like, I want to go out on top. So we'll see. But it was an interesting watch in terms of it's a completely different City Arsenal game to like the ones we watched in recent years.
Yeah, I will say too though that maybe it was just this game. I was especially looking at Rodri. Bro is kicking the ball off the field, bro. That's your Ballon d'Or winner?
That was a year ago, man.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Vinny would not be doing that. And
hold on. Vinny's.
This year, maybe. But that year.
Rodri wasn't doing that either. To be fair to him, I think both of them. But I think the biggest indictment on Vinny is that Rodri and Vinny had the same fall off, but Rodri was injured for a year. Vinny was playing. I think that's the biggest indictment you can have on someone like Vinny. Any last thoughts before we have him out of this soccer topic?
Not from me, man.
Gotcha. So let's move on.
All right. I will introduce this topic. We got a big pair of sneakers dropping. I couldn't even tell you when the OGs dropped. I don't know if either of you know off the top, but
early 2000s. I want to say like 05.
It was definitely early 2000s. We have what many have considered a grail, a legitimate grail, dropping again. The Tokyo 5s. The Jordan Tokyo 5s. They're making their return this week. I don't got the date right in front of me. These are dropping supposedly on September 27th. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, thoughts on these?
Ooh. Still want to see. Hold on.
I'll share mine off the rip. I can.
Yeah, let's hear what you got to say. I want to see. I'm like looking at past releases and seeing if I could get.
I
just
will
more
say,
content.
a yellow shoe. I'm a believer that a yellow shoe, if you got one, that's all you need. Me personally, I got a yellow pair of 992s. I'm set with those. However,
Yeah.
I will acknowledge, if I did not have those, I would most definitely be going for these. The shade of yellow, great. The colors, I mean, these are a classic for a reason. It's just a great looking shoe. The little hit you got on the back, I don't even know what kanji that is. Dre, I know you got the Japanese. Let us know.
Yeah, my kanji bag ain't that deep.
I like the translucent sole with the hit of blue. It's a good hit. These to me are just like the epitome of a Jordan 5, I feel like, in terms of just the look and kind of the sporty factor that they give. Like, it's sporty but luxury but clean. But for $215, I ain't paying $215 for Jordans in 2025. I can't. I work with premium sneakers, bro, and once you feel those materials and a price for that is $255, and then you hold a Jordan for $215, it's like, it really makes you question. Because I know Nike's margins on those are crazy. They got to be like costing them maybe $30 to make a pair, $40 tops. So, that's besides the point, though. That's for any Jordan release nowadays.
Yeah. Okay. The Tokyos, man. I just looked it up. So they released in 2011, which I thought it was a lot earlier.
I thought it was too.
Yeah, I thought it was like early 2000s, but who knows? Point is, the original was like they were released because I guess there was a Jordan, like a grand opening of a Jordan store in Tokyo, and so this was like an exclusive pair, and this was highly regarded as like one of the top grails just in sneakers in general, right? So I have personally been open about just being happy with the way. I know this is because Nike's stock has plummeted and that they're kind of down bad right now, and they want to make sure they get their sales back up. So they're really just throwing anything at the wall, seeing what the people buy. And so it's cool to see, as someone who is not like an OG collector, as someone who does not own any of the OG grails, I think it's cool to see these pairs coming back out. So I'm not mad at it. What I will say though is that Jordan brand or Nike, they also released the Jordan 5s like a few years back, and it was like a yellow pair, like a yellow Jordan 5 along with like a red pair, and the yellow pair, or not pair, a yellow sneaker with a red sneaker, and that together was a pair. I associate, like, I still see people rocking those to this day, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of gives, like, to be honest with you, like black Air Force One energy. And I know that's very, like, it's very coded. If you know what I'm saying, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, you know what I mean. But there is, like, all power to anybody. If you like what you like, cool, go for it. But I don't know, like, I just want to go off of the fact that I've seen this pair already on, well, it's not the exact same pair, but I've seen a yellow Jordan 5 that closely resembles the Tokyo pair on feet, and it kind of got a little oversaturated. And I don't know, like, I understand that this is a grail, and it's cool to see it coming back out, but for me personally, yes, it's a lot of pair of sneakers, and I don't know if I am going to be driven to want to get, or no, I do know I will not be driven, like I will sleep on these, like I am not getting these, and they don't look all that hot. And I think when you have a year like this year where Nike's just pumping out all these pairs, you're gonna sleep on the big hits. Like, I slept on the undefeated 4s, and I don't know if I regret it just yet, because I already own 2 other pairs of Jordan 4s. Like, I'm seeing like kind of a pattern here, and if people want to go out and get these, like, do you, all power to you. But for me, I just don't think I'm gonna do it. But those are my thoughts. I wonder what else you guys think.
I mean, it's a crazy year. We got black toes, we got shattered backboards. I mean, just to name a couple. And
Right,
like
that's what I'm
all of
doing.
them,
Yep.
you could just go out and buy. I mean, I'm looking right now on JD Sports, shatter backboards, pretty much every size. Black toes finally like selling out a bit. Those I actually copped. I love those. But I will say, yeah, with the year Jordan has had in terms of the amount of shoes they've dropped and the colorways as well, like Tokyo 5s don't stand out as much because of that. Like even like if I were to buy one pair right now, I'm still getting those Cavestone 4s. Those are still much more wearable and more me than a Tokyo 5. Tokyo 5 is like, oh, if I can have it, I'll take it. But it doesn't have that same meaning to me as maybe to older people.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those millennial drops. Like I can see a lot of people in their 30s and 40s going stupid over these, but I just don't know if that's me.
No, I think that's fair. And like personally, even you guys know, man, Grail Schmel, bro. I don't give a damn, bro. Like if I'm wearing it to buy it right now, I'm wearing it to buy it right now. Tokyo 5, I think it's a good looking shoe. I think it has cool details, whatever. But it's more of a shoe where if I bought that, I'd want to like put that up in a display kind of shoe. And at this point in time, I'm not in the interest of buying shoes to display them. You know, the funds ain't moving like that. So the Tokyo 5 is not a shoe I'm going to be wearing regularly in a rotation. And if that's the case, it's not worth it. Especially 215, moving crazy. You think I'm buying those for 215 right now and not wearing them consistently. I think what you said about the yellow sneaker is on point in terms of it's very hard to justify multiple yellow sneakers in a rotation. It's just, especially not just like a yellow sneaker, like a shoe with yellow as like a secondary color, like a banging yellow sneaker, like in your face yellow sneaker like this has to be like your yellow sneaker. Like if you pop this out and pop out another one 2 days later, it's like, okay, bro, like, chill out, bro. But now, like, if it was the reverse, I know there is one that's like black with like yellow more highlights. That's more something I could justify, but the all yellow, it's too much of a, especially with yellow being the primary color, is also a shoe that can show its wear a lot worse than a lot of other shoes too. So not only will I not want to be wearing it, but like if I wear it, I'm going to be very conscious about wearing it and getting them dirty. And I don't know, there's too many factors where for 215 it's too much of an ask. But I think it's cool that they are coming out though. I think that is dope.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, for the people who could get them, great. And people will. These will probably go like the undefeated 4s. I think quantities are along those lines as well. I think I saw maybe 20,000. So not a lot. But there have definitely been better releases. Like, I think even those Yu-Gi-Oh! Air Maxes, like, I'm taking those any day over these.
Same. Especially the Japan pair. If you want to talk about pairs related to Japan, all right, man, fly over and get those instead, bro. Those are gonna hit a little harder than these for me. I know those Grail heads on the Tokyo 5s probably think this is some blasphemous segment we just had here, but hey, man, it is what it is, bro. Like, and look up, none of us are going for it. You better shot for you. So, hey, we
less competition.
That. Exactly.
Listen, man, I ain't mad at that. When the white cements released, I was on that, and I'm glad I was able to get a pair for retail, which was still crazy. Still paid a pretty penny for those, but you know, I don't know. I think there's something to be said about all these Grails coming out, and it's good. It's good for those who want to buy them. It's good for Nike. It's good for everybody. But like, I don't know. Like, I think all of us want, you know, we don't see the excitement for these pairs as much anymore. Like, there's no like anticipation for these big releases as much. And I think that's been consistent with the sneaker culture for some time now. And there's something to be said about that. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's what, you know, money makes the world go around. So that's what we're going to see. But
I do want to say, I feel like also Nike, maybe this past year, not previous years, I feel like their just general release sneakers have been better than these more hype drops. Like, we talked a bit about Air Maxes, but I actually saw a dude at work the other day who was wearing Nike Shocks, that went crazy. I don't know how y'all feel about the Shocks, but they were like an all royal blue, kind of like this blue colorway. They were clean in person.
Oh,
and like
I think I've seen.
Yeah, those are just like a retail pair. And I feel like, you know, even other brands like Asics, New Balance, like a lot of what's been doing well has been shoes that have been readily available, nothing crazy with price. So I feel like that also might play a part into the Jordan shoe that we covered recently, those sneakers, the Trunner or whatever it was called. You know, I think they're trying to get into that lane a bit.
Interesting. Terrible. Terrible. But now that you said that, some Shocks might not be bad, man.
You see the ones I'm talking about?
Are they like
they're like all royal blue.
Is it like ooh? Hold on.
Yeah. Kind of like
These
Yeah,
are hard. Hold on. There
Yeah.
we go. These
Or
are
wait.
hard.
No,
They're a
wait. I
women's
think
pair?
the ones I'm gonna send the link in the Discord.
Yeah, high heel.
No, these are nice. I
Check
like
the
these, I'm not
general
gonna
chat.
lie.
I can't tell if it's the exact color, but
Let's see.
like this exact one where you got that different darker tone in the middle.
Oh, it's a little different. Oh, these are nice though. I like these. I might get
Like,
myself some
no,
Shocks, man.
hold on. I might be getting these. These, I might have to. I
Slow
might
your
have
roll. Slow
You
your
know,
roll.
you know, gotta match the hoodie. You know.
Yo, some Shocks would be nice, huh?
Yeah, Dre, I know you mess with the blue.
I do mess with blue, but
Or the all black. The all black of these looks sick, man.
Yeah, the all black. Oh wait, yeah, it's like a
These
patent.
are tough. Yeah, these are tough.
Yeah. So, heard it here first, man. Rip the Net Pod. Shocks are the move now.
I'm putting you on.
Yeah.
So when that's the wave, come back and say, "Hey, man, rip the net, put us on, man. Like the video too, man."
I can imagine too, like, because Shocks have been around forever. Like people thinking, like, what? Like,
These are sick though.
Hey, man, this is
iconic though.
pre T90, you know, pre T90 hype. This is the we put you on before these pop up.
Oh,
Yeah, that T90 hype that came and went, didn't it?
That's what we said was gonna
Yeah.
happen. It was not gonna last that long.
Yeah.
Good. These kids, man. Kids these days, man. I'm honestly, we don't even have to. Maybe we'll have to have a conversation about just like the youth and like
The youth.
how. I just feel like a lot of what they're running towards is
Everyone's
very
gonna
like,
call us Unk in the comments with this talk.
listen, man, the Sambas, the T90s, like I don't know, like it's just not for me. It's just not for me. And maybe I am Unk for saying that, but I don't know.
I think
they really.
I see it. I see it. Maybe because, you know, where I work, shout out Collegium, you know, get yourself a pair. They're fire. But they got some more low profile sneakers. And I feel like if it's within your style or a setting you have to be in, like for work or something, like you could really make those shoes clean. Like it doesn't have to be a sneaker, you know?
I think my issue is the fact that literally everybody's wearing them. And I know as someone who wears Jordans, that sounds like, you know, like that sounds like hypocritical. But when everybody has the same, I think that's my issue, is that literally everybody has the same look.
Yeah.
And
If people had
that's
different
what's
colors
bothering
at least, but everyone's rocking the same ones. Like
yeah.
I see
Yeah.
white, black, brown. Like I don't see
Mhm.
much outside of that.
Mm.
Literally.
Yeah, I do think the Sambas are a good shoe, like inherently, but
Yes.
yeah, I think the oversaturation is tough. It's definitely tough. And you see that. I mean, it's not just exclusive to Sambas. It's been going back for years. Where I think this is a symptom, and I know we just said we're gonna talk about it another time, but I think it's partially a symptom of just like the interconnectivity of the internet and everyone being on the same wave. So as soon as something becomes popular, then it goes big online. Then everyone across the world is like, hold up, this is the new thing. Now everywhere you go, everyone's wearing the same shoe. Versus like before, I feel like you had more pockets. Like, okay, maybe regionally this is a shoe, or like, and this subculture, this is a shoe. And now it's like before it would have been like within the soccer subculture, okay, that's the Samba's the shoe. But then now it's like, okay, now everyone and their mother is wearing the Samba, so that kind of has escaped those pockets. And in ways, that's good things. That's good for certain things, but I think for something like fashion, where everyone's looking copy paste, and it's like, okay, bro, like chill out.
Yeah.
It's happened everywhere.
I think
Roshis, Flyknits. We've had these conversations.
We're gonna have to have next time we talk, man. We gotta have a conversation. One trend we gotta bring back.
Okay.
We each bring one.
Yeah, I'd say
let's
keep
do
it to sneakers, fashion, streetwear, that sort of thing.
Let's bring back sagging.
And that's our episode for the week. Appreciate you guys for watching, listening, whatever you're doing. We very much appreciate it. It was a fun episode this week. A lot of up and down emotions, but this is the point of sports, fashion, culture. Every week something different's happening, and you just got to move with the times. And like I said earlier in the pod, Enzo Maresca, you're on the clock. But no, clock is harsh. But we're looking at you, bro. But any last final thoughts? Bing, bing, bada boom, bada bing. No. So like, subscribe, all that good algorithm stuff.
Actually, one last thought. I did see the clip recently, man, that sagging apparently started as a sign that your goods were for the taking in some spaces. So if you want that trend, that's on you.
Crazy. No Diddy. Yeah. Okay.
No Diddy.
I ain't gonna lie. When we get back, Eric, you have to explain yourself when we get to that segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll save it for another week. Now we're gonna have to do that. The trend we're gonna bring back. Look out for that. I think next week we'll also be talking about Inside USA, new season. You know, we talked about it last time when the UK season 2 happened. That's airing right now. We'll talk about that next week. More Prem games. Basketball's around the corner. WrestlePalooza. You know, we didn't talk about that, but you know, things are going on.
We don't have to. We don't have to.
Yeah, fair.
Terrible. Horrible.
Yeah. Very disappointing. But like I said, appreciate you guys for watching. KalopsiaStudios.com in the description. Support my guy, Alexi. He's doing things. And, you know, like he said, everyone, chase your dreams, man. Chase your dreams. So I'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Peace out, y'all. Take care.